Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Deciding to Soar, Living Life Your Own Way. My name is Sharon Jameson, and I am a minister, an author, a corporate leader, a speaker, and a mom. And I am committed to helping people be who they were born to be so that they never settle for what society has taught and told them to be. And if this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. We are an unscripted, unedited offering where I share what I'm learning in my own life's journey, as well as what I'm learning from coaching some of the most amazing leaders and visionaries and entrepreneurs and healers, people who are committed to being the highest and the happiest and the most healed version of themselves. And by sharing their wisdom and sharing my wisdom, I believe that we can help other people live their best lives and to soar higher in their careers, in their relationships, as well as every purpose and passion that they feel called to do. And today I'm really excited about our episode because a couple of weeks ago, I shared an episode about different ways to witness a Black woman. And witnessing, again, is not just seeing someone, it is affirming and acknowledging the truth of their realities, the truth of their lived experiences, the truth of their contradictions, as well as their complexities, their joys, their strengths. Because I believe when we witness people, we just don't see them in, in as a one dimensional person. We see them in their wholeness. We see them in their wellness. And when we see people fully, I believe not only that it's helpful, but I believe seeing people is really holy. But today I want to talk about something we rarely talk about when we discuss Black women. Because honestly, we talk about the strength of a Black woman. We talk about her leadership, her resilience, her commitment to excellence, but we rarely talk about her softness. And yet I believe her softness might be one of the most sacred parts of her humanity. And to me, softness is not about fragility. It's not about weakness. It's not about a lack of resolve and a lack of tenacity. Softness is a Black woman's capacity for tenderness, for empathy, for laughter, for levity, her ability to be gentle and be loving and to be loved without the burden of her constant armor. And I believe that we have to talk about her softness because no one is meant to survive on strength alone. Yet culturally, there is this unspoken mandate, this unspoken assumption that Black women should do exactly that to survive on strength alone, to survive on strength in the workplace, in their families, in their faith communities, in political systems. And that's why many times Black women are praised for being strong and adaptable and flexible and unshakable. But over time, those labels that people think are compliments, those labels start to feel like prisons and become very limiting. And they start to prevent us from seeing Black women in all of their holiness and their wholeness. For example, when we only look at Black women through their strength, we start to look at their competence and we start to mistake their competence for being not vulnerable. We start to think that Black women being able to endure a lot in the workplace, in their home, in society, we start to believe that Black women are invincible. And we know that's not true. We start to believe that just because Black women can handle a lot of things and do a lot of things well, we start to withhold empathy as if handling everything well is easy, or if handling everything well is the foundation or the expectation that she handles despite the impact that it has on her well being and on her psyche. And so that's why I think it's really important for us to talk about softness. Because when softness goes unnoticed, there's a cost. There's a cost to her physically, there's a cost to her emotionally, if there's a cost to her financially and professionally when people don't see her full humanity, when they don't really be are able are willing to notice her need for peace and for joy and for hugs and for compassion and empathy. And so today I want to talk about 5 important reasons why it's important for us to witness the softness of a Black woman, with hopes that you will take a different look at how you engage with Black women and how you lead and love Black women and how and what you expect of Black women. I want us to really think about that as we end Black History Month, because I think it's important for us to identify ways that we are witnessing Black women, but also ways that there are opportunities for us to witness them more deeply, more fully, and more honestly. So the first thing it's important to remember. It's important to remember that witnessing the softness of Black women settles their spirit, and it settles what survival has kept activated. So what does that mean? It means that Black women often are the first, are the only, are the few in organizational structures. Many times they are the first, are the few people in their family who are making 6 figures, who are um, who have graduate degrees because of all the systemic bias. Many times they are the first, are the few, are the only people doing something different in their friend group. And so I think that when you are the first, are the few, are the only, oftentimes it requires you to live in this sense of a chronic vigilance, because you're dealing with organizational pressures, family responsibilities, cultural expectations, political challenges. You're dealing with discrimination and bias, and you are expected to always overperform, irrespective of the challenges or the vicissitudes that have to endure. And so when we witness the softness of a Black woman, that softness settles her body. It tells the body that you're safe, that you are safe so that you can excel. You are safe so you can rest. You are safe so that you don't have to wear a mask, that you can take off your public persona and your armor. And that settling that happens when we see her softness, it really restores clarity. It lowers her stress responses, which lowers her blood pressure. It allows her to tap into her own wisdom instead of always having to react and to respond to challenges are perceived threats. And so we need to really think about how can we witness her softness in a way that she feels that she can settle into her body, settle into her situations, settle into workplaces without being on guard, without being hypervigilant. So softness is important because it allows Black women to settle. The second reason why softness is so important is that softness soothes what pressure has bruised. And honestly, a lot of Black women are dealing with being bruised, being bruised because we're dealing with layered grief. Grief shows up as personal, professional, or historical grief that often goes unnamed, often goes unacknowledged. And we are dealing with a lot of complexity where we are holding hope in one hand and sometimes fear in another hand because oftentimes we feel not only disrespected but unprotected. And so when we acknowledge that softness and witness that softness in Black women, it allows the softness, it allows that softness allows that emotion to move through her body and not get stuck or hardened in her cardiovascular system, in her immune system, in her GI system. And so without that soothing, that emotion, it really calcifies. It turns to burnout. It shows up as resentment and withdrawal and numbness. And so that's why we have to understand that witnessing her softness is not about indulgence. It's about regulation. It's about soul care. Or in the words of one of my friends, Dr. Vicki Johnson, it's about soul wealth. And so we definitely want to think about how can we soothe that softness? How can we make space for that layered grief and those rough edges so that she can process emotions unimpeded so that those negative feelings don't stay stuck in her body, stuck in her psyche, stay stuck in her spirit in ways that has detrimental effects on her wellness and wholeness. The third thing is important to think about softness. Softness sustains Black women. So when we talk about softness sustaining us, it's about softness sustains the spirit beyond performance. And that's important because many Black women, we are celebrated for what we do, not always for who we are. And as a result, our performance becomes our identity. It becomes our currency. But when softness whispers that you are worthy without producing, you are worthy without solving, you are worthy without making, you are worthy without executing or implementing or strategizing, it allows Black women to reconnect to their joy, to their happiness, to their imagination, to their own breath, to their own being. And so we have to think about how can we witness her softness so that she remembers that her personhood is enough and that she can experience all the aspects of her personhood without feeling as if she has to earn the right to be to be to be whole, to be happy, to be whatever she wants to be. And so the fourth reason why it's so important to witness the softness of women is because softness strengthens growth. It encourages evolution. It encourages recalibration. And I think we have to talk about that more because I think sometimes we think or believe that growth happens under constant pressure. Like people have to be pressured to grow. But that's not always true because real growth, sustainable growth, happens in environments where people feel safe to experiment, where they feel respected, where there's equity, where there's care. That's when people grow because growth requires fertile ground. And when the ground is fertile because it is nourishing a person, it is healing a person, it is grounding a person, it is welcoming a person, that's when creativity returns. That is when innovation expands. That's when new versions of a person can emerge and bloom. That's when people can experiment with different parts of their personality and express the parts of themselves that they hide. So, softness strengthens growth. And finally, witnessing the softness of a Black woman brings stability. When Black women are replenished, their presence stabilizes families, teams, faith communities, institutions, businesses. Because when people are not depleted, they have the energy, they have the optimism, they have the presence of mind. They can tap into their intuition in ways that replenishes others. And so I think it's important for us to ask ourselves, are we witnessing Black women in ways that's that allows them to stabilize themselves? Because when they are stable, they stabilize everyone connected to them. And so today I want to ask you, honestly, when was the last time you witnessed a Black woman's softness? That can be your mom, your aunt, your sister, your teacher, your doctor, your minister, your daughter. When was the last time you witnessed the softness of a Black woman? When you saw her, not her strength, not her productivity, not her competence, not her wisdom, not what she does and what she can provide for you, but just her softness. And if you are a Black woman listening to this podcast, when was the last time you allowed yourself to soften without apology? When was the last time you allowed people to really experience your laughter, your joy, your hugs, your levity? When was the last time you took off your public persona, your mask, your armor, and was just present with yourself as well as being present with others, right? And I want you to think about that, the power of your softness and giving yourself permission to experience your softness. And if this episode resonates with you, I would love for you to share it with someone who needs to hear what it means to be soft and why it's important. I would love for you to subscribe to the podcast. I would love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I would also love for you to join my newsletter because that's when I talk about some of the topics that I discuss on the podcast. But I go deeper and I get more intimate and I provide tools and resources and different types of reflection so that we all can rise and rise in the fullness of who we are collectively, individually, as well as personally and professionally. So I want to leave you today with remembering that witnessing your softness is not just a conversation. It is not a platitude. It is a practice. It is a commitment to yourself. It's a commitment to other people. And if you're not a Black woman, I will ask you if you're a woman or if you're part of a marginalized community. I hope that you give yourself permission to witness yourself and to witness others. I hope you give yourself permission to witness the parts of you that the dominant culture oftentimes overlooks or minimizes or delegitimize. I want you to think about that because you deserve to be witnessed in all the ways that keep you whole, in all the ways that keep you safe and seen and affirmed and acknowledged. And I hope that you will not only believe that, but you practice that in ways that allow you to feel seen in those vulnerable, sacred places of your humanity. So I want to leave you with this blessing, something that I wrote for myself, but I think it should resonate. I hope it will resonate with you. And it says, may softness settle what has been strained. May it bring rest to what has been bracing for too long. May it quiet what has been on guard in order to survive. May it create space for breath where there has only been space for holding. May softness soothe what has been pressured and bruised. May it tend to unspoken, hidden grief. May your softness make room for tears without shame and rest without apology. May softness sustain your spirit beyond performance. May it remind you that you are worthy without producing, valued without overextending, love without earning. May softness strengthen your growth. May it become fertile ground where your creativity returns, where your imagination expands, where new versions of you are allowed to emerge and bloom. And may your softness stabilize the spaces around you. May your presence anchor families, steady communities, and humanize the organizations you lead, not through depletion, but through replenishment. And may your softness, in all of its beauty and grace, be honored, respected, protected today and for generations to come. So thank you so much for listening today. Again, please share the podcast. And if you are interested in a deeper conversation about ways to witness yourself and witness others, I want to invite you to send me an email at sharonjameson.com, where because in the middle of March, I will be holding an intimate gathering, an intimate virtual gathering to talk about witnessing and all the ways that witnessing helps us win individually and collectively. So I hope to see you there. And again, thanks so much for listening. I always honor you for your time, for your energy, and for your presence. And as I say after every podcast, I do believe we will continue to dare to soar higher in how we witness each other because I know that the best is still yet to come. Thank you so much and blessings to you always.